Well, hello, everybody. It's great to be with you. And Deanna, you're back.
I am back.
You're back, better than ever. For those of you who missed her earlier when Greg spoke with her or need a little refresher, Diana Flores is the captain and quarterback of Mexico's world champion national flag football team. She also serves as a game analyst and sports broadcaster for several networks, and that included your coverage of the Super Bowl. And of course, the star of one of the ads during the halftime of that Super Bowl, which we all saw and loved. You were working alongside the NFL, that small little organization some of you might have heard of, that is certainly helping to change the sport and women's sports and, of course, flag football, and the International Federation of American Football as the sport's global ambassador. She is a flag football superstar. She's competed in numerous national and international tournaments representing Mexico on the world stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Diana Flores.
Thank you.
How much fun are you having right now? You're everywhere.
It has been a blast. I mean, to be able to give back to the sport I love, not only as a player on the field representing my country, but also off the field with the NFL, IFAF, Under Armour, and all the amazing activities and things that we're doing to grow the game is just a blessing.
And I think, of course, many people do know a little bit about your story and what you've done, but for all the successes and for all the wonderful opportunity you have given not only yourself, but so many other young girls and women around the world and continue to do so, what have been the challenges? I think there's probably a lot of people out here, we know that sports isn't always easy. We know that there are roadblocks, there are moments, right? Can you describe maybe one or two where you doubted or were uncertain or needed to overcome some kind of hurdle personally to get to where you are now and, of course, the great success you're having?
Well, first of all, I think that the sport has changed a lot since I started playing the game. I started playing when I was 8 years old back in Mexico City. And for a girl, a Mexican girl, born and raised in Mexico City, who fell in love with a very, very American sport, a sport that seemed to be a sport for boys, there were not a lot of opportunities out there. So I started at a club. I remember we had a big football field, natural grass, stands, lighting, amazing. Well, that's not where my team and I started playing because we were not allowed to step on the field because our sport seemed like a side sport. I don't know, like it didn't have the importance for people out there. So we started playing the sport at the backfield. It was a dirt field, literally. I remember my coach used to ask us to bring trash bags. So we used to spend the first 10 or 15 minutes of each practice cleaning that field so we could practice the sport. And as an 8-year-old, I didn't realize how bad that situation was. It was just a reality for me and my teammates. I started playing with girls that were 16 or 17 years old because, again, we didn't have youth categories, we didn't have girls teams, so that was the only way for me to practice the sport. And a lot of those challenges, I would say, like gender barriers, representation barriers, it is amazing to see how they are breaking during time, and thanks to a lot of efforts that we are doing. That's why I have to say, before going on, that I feel very, very happy and grateful for all of you just by the fact of being here, because it means that you want to do something to make that change and make that possible for many, many girls out there, girls and boys, right? As an 8-year-old girl, I never imagined, never dreamed that all of this could be possible for me or the sport I love. So that's what excites me a lot and makes me feel like super proud just to see how all these barriers are being broken and more doors are being opened.
Well, and you've alluded to it, but football, obviously a boys' men's sport here in the United States and other places. And of course, with Title IX, which all of us know so well here in the United States, we have won the suburbs, right? We've got the white girls and women. We have not done as well in underserved areas, urban areas of the United States, underserved rural areas, and certainly with Hispanic young
Yeah.
women, right? How do we do that? And it's not just flag football, but all sports. What is the key, do you think, for the next 50 years of Title IX, as we celebrated the 50th anniversary 2 years ago, to make sure we are not leaving Hispanic girls and women behind?
That's a very interesting topic to talk about because I feel that a key thing here, and not only for the Hispanic community, just for every community, is representation. Representation change lives. And I know that by firsthand because it has changed my life. And I know that it is changing many, many others, girls and women's and people's lives out there. I'm gonna drop some numbers now. Like after the Hispanic sentiment study thrown by Nielsen, 2023, they found that 43% of the Latinos right now in this country feel unrepresented and feel undervalued in this country, feel that their values, cultural values, are not being heard and seen, which I think is very, very important. Thinking that it is how to say it, like está pronosticado. I don't know that word in English.
Help, anyone?
Diagnosed. Thank you.
Thank you.
That by 2015, there's going to be 1 out of 3 Latinos in the United States. So as my friend Claudia Romo from We Are All Human Foundation could say, it's going to be hello, hello, hola. Right? So it is very important, I think, to make people feel seen, heard, and valued. And how do we do that? By communicating with them in their language, by approaching and embracing their values. Values as community, values as hard work, values as family. Just, it is important not only to speak to the next generations of boys and girls to remind them that they belong, that they deserve, that they can dream big, but also to help them see role models out there, to help them have a clear path to follow, to help them have a shiro or a hero, right? Because if you can see it, you can be it. And I totally believe on that statement. We also need to talk to the parents, to tell them and help break stereotypes that we have had in society for a long time, right? We have to break those stereotypes and change the narrative for the present and future generations. To know that sports has no gender. Sports is for everyone. It's not for her, it's not for him. It is only sport, and it is for everyone that wants to try it, right? So I feel that representation, building role models, making the sport accessible for all of these communities. How? By bringing it closer to them. It is not the same thing having to, I don't know, like travel 1 hour, 2 hours to find a club or something like that to practice a sport, than just bringing it to your community. Then you can just go there after school, things like that. So yeah, I feel that those kind of little things can have a big impact and can change many people's lives.
Well, and you're working on that, you're doing that, you're the epitome of that. If you can see it, you can be it. I want to have you take us a little into the future if you can. We know that, I believe, is it 11 U.S. states right now have girls flag football as a high school sport. I can only imagine over the next 5 to 10 years when we're going to be getting close to half the country, maybe even approaching the full all 50 states. You've got the Olympics, of course. 2028 is going to be here before we know it. Paris is the first Olympics that we will have equal women and men at the Olympic Games worldwide, not just the United States. So that is the launching pad, of course, for LA for 2028, which will be here, as I said, very soon. And the drumbeat for that is going to be extraordinary here in this country. So what does flag football for girls and women look like? Let's let's just say 6, 7, 8 years from now, after LA, what do you think it's going to look like? Tell everybody here, what can they expect to see as far as this sport that you're leading the way?
Oh my God, that just excites me a lot because, to be honest, I feel that this sport has no limit, has no roof to keep growing. This is one of the fastest growing sports in the world in the past 5 years, considered by the IOC. We are, as I said, more than 20 million players in more than 100 countries, and that has happened in just a couple years. And that's because it is an accessible sport, it is an inclusive sport, it is fun to play, it is fun to watch, it has it all. And I feel that this sport will just keep opening many opportunities, especially for women in sports that now have a new platform to showcase themselves as athletes, and as doing that, achieve their dreams of the field as professionists, and just being able to make a living from this sport. You know, right now, flag football is not a professional sport yet, which means we actually pay to play the sport. We have to invest a lot of course, money, efforts, time to represent our countries just for the love of the game. And I know there are a lot of women out there that are passionate about this sport and love this sport so much and give so much to this sport. And I'm just like excited to think that in the next couple years, this will be a way of living for them, for the present and future generations of women that now will have another platform to dream of, to dream bigger than ever. And that, I feel that's what the Olympic Games will bring to the table. That's what we are building together by making it a sanctioned sport in many more states, by introducing it to different universities out there who are giving scholarships to these women so they can graduate from college playing this sport. And it's just like those little efforts that will keep building the path for the next generations to be able to dream bigger than ever and just achieve other levels of the sport on and off the field. Mm-hmm.
In other words, if we could buy stock in girls flag football and women's flag football, we should be buying stock in girls and women's flag football. We only have a couple minutes left, but I would be remiss, as a leader in this space, women's sports, obviously flag football, but looking out for girls, role model for so many girls, thousands of girls and women who look up to you. We are watching something extraordinary happen in the United States right now with a certain basketball player named Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us a sense? Hey, there you go. Are you from Iowa? No, you're from the United States. That's where it is. The country has fallen in love with what it's created because of Title IX. You are not from this country, but you are here now so often, and of course a wonderful neighbor just to the south. What do you make of all of this, and what does it mean, not just for basketball, but for the next Caitlin Clark, wherever she is, in other sports? Maybe just give us your assessment of women's sports, where they are today, what we see with Caitlin Clark, and what is possible in the future.
I feel that, I mean, it is amazing to see how women in sports are just shining right now, thanks to amazing athletes as Caitlin Clark, you mentioned, and many others through time that had made possible for us to be where we are today, right? And the fact that this Caitlin Clark effect is just, I don't know, like changing not only the game of basketball, but also changing how people see women in sports, not only basketball, but sports in general. I feel it is just an amazing thing because it is not easy, you know, like for doing something like that, you have to show up on the field being great, and also off the field just by having a mission in mind and just communicating in the best way and being that game changer. And I feel that will build just the platform for, as you said, like the next generations of female athletes that now can have the exposure, I think. It is not that we haven't had amazing athletes out there in the past. We have had them. The only thing is they haven't had the platform, the voice, the spotlight that they are having today. And I feel that we need to keep betting on the talent that, since they are little right now, because we don't know where our next leaders will be. And they could be from anywhere, any country, any sport. People just need sometimes someone that trusts on you, someone that trusts on those little boys and girls, that trust on their talents, who invest on them, who bet on them to be a game changer in life.
No one says it better, Diana. Ladies and gentlemen, Diana Flores. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a